Hello, everyone. It's Amy, and welcome to Bass and Boundaries, your one stop shop for all things mental health and music. So, if that's your kind of thing, stick around for the next drop. Good evening, and welcome to Bass and Boundaries, the one stop shop for all things mental health and music. I'm joined with my namesake today, Amy. I have known Amy for, oh my gosh, it's what, 3 years?
Yeah, must be about 3 years
And
now. That's mad.
we met at Playgroup, and Amy now runs Woodville for Tea and Tots on a Tuesday. And we're not actually here to talk about all those kinds of things because we see each other pretty much all the time, but we don't talk about like other things apart from like mum things, don't we? So
Yeah.
um, today I'm going to be talking to Amy all about her musical talents, what Amy does, what Amy loves doing, and what's Amy's soundtrack. So we're going to go straight into it because I think we're going to have a lot to say. I feel like we are going to have a load to say on this one. So tell me about, so pre-parenting up until now, like where has music been like a massive standpoint for you?
Oh my goodness me. So I climbed into the kitchen cupboards as a toddler and would bang pots and pans together. And from that point forward, my parents tried everything to stop me from going on to the drum kit, but it was like it was meant to happen. So I would be passed like a guitar and then a recorder in primary school, and channel your channel your music into something else. But I was there like I want to hit stuff. I want to bang stuff together.
Yeah.
I was really drawn to rhythm. I was really drawn to just making loads of noise, and I was always quite oldest daughter, oldest granddaughter, very straight-laced at school, and generally quite a sort of straight-laced, like sensible individual. But I have this like need to sort of express myself, and for me, drumming was meant to be really from a very, very young age, and I really got into it when so I went to like your bog standard secondary school, but it had a bit of a performing arts specialism at the time, and they got a bloke in to just do some music showcase. So there was a someone playing a keyboard, there was someone playing a guitar,
Nice.
there was someone, and then this guy sat behind this drum kit and did a little thing, and I was just like, this is me, this is what I need to be doing. And I hadn't seen anyone, I hadn't seen a woman behind a drum kit. I didn't kind of see an artist or go, and I want to be like them. It was literally just, I heard someone play it at school and I just thought, I need to do that. That's
Yeah.
me. And so it went from there really. So I managed to scrape together a little bit of money to kind of do a few lessons, but I very much went into bands quite quickly. So we set up a rock school, after school club on
I
a
love that.
Monday. And we had all these different, like, 14, 15-year-olds. It was 2006, right?
Oh,
So
don't. Now I feel
emo
old.
phase, and like
Yeah,
the hair was here. It was all over your face.
of course. Yeah.
All over
Standard.
your MySpace and Bebo. It was all like the three and the little more than, less than
Yeah.
signs, and that era. So everyone wanted to be in everyone else's band and all that kind of thing. But with us drummers, and you'll hear this a lot in the music spaces, drummers are in about 5 different bands at once because there aren't very many of us around. So everyone's clawing for the drummer. So I was never short of a project to play in, and it was just, it was just in my blood really from that point forward. And I picked up the sticks at 13. I'm 33 now, so I've been drumming for 20 years this year,
God,
which
wow.
is crazy, absolutely crazy. There's been loads of ups and downs along the way, but genuinely from a child with pots and pans, I've been drumming,
That's
singing as
amazing.
well. But
Yeah.
like my main passion was drumming, like sang in like school plays and choirs and things, but always had a huge appreciation for music and everything that it does. And drumming is like a massive sort of therapeutic thing for me as well.
And I think, and I think we all have that one particular thing. I mean, if you want my complete and brutal honesty, I forced my parents to get me a drum kit when I was 14, and I could probably play 2 songs and I gave up because I couldn't get the chord. I always blame the fact I was left-handed, and I know it's not an excuse, but like, I just couldn't get the rhythm. I just couldn't, like, this is why I have so much respect for drummers, because, you know, I'm trying to pretend to do it now. So like, you're trying to, like, you've got 2 legs going, and then you've got your arms, and then you've got to try and coordinate it. I didn't have any coordination as a kid, and I still don't now. But do you know what's really ironic? I can guarantee you're a good driver because you've then got that. I mean, this is what's ironic, because I think I'd like to say I'm a good driver. Like, you've got to do clutch, brake, gas, you know, gear stick, you know, so like, it's kind of like the same thing. So I've spoken to drummers before, and they're all like, oh yeah, well, I'm a good drummer and I'm also a good driver, because it's the coordination thing. But isn't it funny how, as a kid, I just didn't get it. Like,
neither did I, babe. It took me a year of sounding utter rubbish, and I just stuck at it. And I was okay with sounding rubbish for a bit. And much like you don't immediately know how to learn to drive after one lesson, it takes a number of lessons and blocks of time and things clicking into place. And honestly, drumming is incredibly difficult. You're having to kind of coordinate every single limb of your body and your head. I sing at the same time now as well. So
no, see, that's what I'm saying.
I know.
It's like, I see people when they're doing, like, my son Finn, he can do piano and sing at the same time. I'm like, how do you do that? Because
so impressive.
I'm so like, because I know I was going to talk about like neurodivergency and all that stuff. Like, I can separate a song. Like, I can listen to a song and separate it into what layers it has, and not a lot of people can do that. Like, some people just hear a song, and you'll see it because we live in the same town. Like, you'll see me driving about like I'm living my best life. I'm literally going for it. I'm driving, singing, literally living my best life, giving it a good dance. But everyone's kind of so serious. And so I think like that coordination, it kind of like, maybe people can't sing, dance and drive at the same time. Like, you can do the drums and sing at the same time. Like,
and I think like mental health wise, it honestly puts me in almost in a different frequency, which sounds really strange.
No, it's not.
But strange. It's like, I think from coordinating your limbs in such a way, you're engaging your brain in a different way. And you end up in this kind of, you know, like when you're at a rave, you're kind of in this like flow state of like, everything just goes quiet.
Everything just stops.
100%. That is exactly what it's like when I'm drumming. So and I have to be kind of in a song and kind of really kind of going for it. But it honestly does something, I think, to your brain chemistry. And I was looking into it before coming on, and it can trigger like a meditative state almost.
That makes sense.
Because I guess it's the same as like if you're driving on a long journey, like you're not thinking about
there, aren't you?
pedals or your wheel or what gear you're in or what's on the radio. You're just in that zone, and it's
like you become sort of one with it. Because when I was in Manchester, I think I told you about it actually, like when I went to see Andromedic, for instance. Like, he is literally like my favorite ever artist, like, honest to God, and he knows it. I told him. It was like when he was there on the stage, he's playing, like he's doing his thing. Time just stops. And you are one with it, especially like some of the favorite ones that he played. Like, I became almost part of it. And no one, unless you are really into music, you don't get it, because some people look at music as it's just nice to listen to. Like, no, I feel it. And it's actually it's a real thing. And but it's not really spoken about enough. I mean, in my teenage years, I'd be on the bus going to college. I mean, it's 2007, going to college, and I've got my headphones in. It was like, on my iPod at the time. And like, I'd just be there with the song, traveling, but I would be like it sounds stupid, but I'd feel like I'm in a music video.
Yes. I'm with you. Yeah.
Oh my days, and I still do it. Like sometimes I can be driving and I'm at the lights. I've been pipped at so much for just daydreaming because I'm there. You know, I'm there. I'm sorry, I'm not on this planet at the moment. I'm here. Like, but it's just an amazing feeling, and like to be able to share that with people like that get it. Because otherwise, I'd say it was someone like my mum. She'd be like, "What the hell are you on about?" Like, because not everybody gets it, not everyone feels it, which makes me then think, is it being neurodivergent, or is it just some people are just really not of this world and we just go for it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, and speaking of iPods, a massive part of childhood growing up, and I think where I love my playlists so much now as an adult is my dad had this really special iPod that was I think it was black, but then on the back of it was like engraved because his favorite band was U2.
Nice.
So he had this really posh iPod that he used to put in every night because we didn't have a dishwasher or anything like that. It was the 90s, so you know, he was there washing the pots, and he would always put his iPod on shuffle. And he was the kind of guy where it could literally be U2, Disney, Amy Winehouse, Slipknot, Cascada, anything, any genre that you could possibly think of.
Literally.
Any song you could possibly think of, it was on there. It was on that iPod, and you never knew what you were going to get. It was like a pick and mix every night, and it just became this like ritual for our family. And I'm completely like that. The band always call me polyamorous, and I love that. That's exactly it. I have such an appreciation for all kinds of music, genuinely. And I know lots of people will probably come on here and say that, but genuinely, I think with being a drummer as well, I have a real love for rhythm, and rhythm is in everything. It's in every kind of genre. It's in every kind of music. And I think it genuinely makes me a better musician, kind of not pigeonholing myself into one genre, sort of. But yeah, genuinely, like from a child, that's kind of always been where I've been. I say this, I am wearing a Green Day t-shirt, 2000s vibes, but they were a massive influence of mine, I think, like particularly with drumming. Cool. Yeah, and I think because
it was the love of my life in my teenage years, I actually convinced myself I was going to marry him, and it was like I have a bit of a story about Green Day. So I went to see them in 2003. I was 12, awesome. 13, I think. Yeah. Oh no, it was 2004 because I was 13. And I went with one of my friends who's passed away now, bless her. But when we went, it was like it sold out at Nottingham Arena, and the day of the actual arena gig, they like, because if you've ever been to Nottingham Arena, there's like extra seats that go like round the side. Yes. So you're literally almost like behind the stage. Mm-hmm. So they released a load of tickets. My mom, like, I was like, Mom, get me these tickets. So she managed to get me 2 tickets. When we were there, we saw Billy Joe and Mike. They were behind the stage and they were smoking a cigarette, and we shouted them just to offer whim, just see if and they offered me a cigarette. I was literally like 14. He probably didn't know I was so tall. He probably thought I was an age person. But it was like they had such an impact on me as well, because he was the reason I got a drum kit. I was like, I want to be like Trey Cool. I love him so much. Like, and yeah, it didn't kind of go that way. And then I kind of went through a guitar. I've had a bass. I had a guitar, didn't do very well with that one, but the bass, I found I could do that.
Yeah,
because it's not as, I say it's not as difficult, because it is, but it's, you kind of, and I think that's why I love drum and bass so much, because the bass is what I listen for. And so I have a question. It's kind of out there with drumming. I listen to a lot of drum and bass. It's literally my life. I don't know where it come from. It just happened. But obviously a lot of artists, they have like sound packs, they have like sound things that they download to put into a song to create drum and bass. Not a lot of people, and I know some do, but not a lot of people actually use proper drums to put that back in drum. Do you think that the old-fashioned style should come back, or are you kind of on board with kind of sound packs and stuff like that?
Oh, that's a great question. So drums are notoriously loud, take a lot of space, annoy a lot of neighbours.
Of course.
We are living in a small, overcrowded little section of the world.
Yeah.
So not everybody has access to a posh drum kit in a posh studio with all the microphones and all the rest of it. So I can completely understand why someone would sit at a laptop and go, do you know what? I'm going to make a beat. I'm going to make this from my desk. I can completely see. I've done both, right? I've been sat in a studio and I've recorded drums for bands and stuff. Equally, I have been given a laptop that a guitarist has put something together and gone, could you replicate this for me, Amy? And I said, yes, mate, absolutely. I think we are living in an age of, I think the more people that get into music, the better. And if you don't have a giant space for putting all your drums and having access to a posh studio, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I think because I tried to get into it by producing my own music, and and I downloaded like different software, sound packs, and I've got it all, and I've even got the little, like, it's a little teeny tiny piano, it's like this big, and then it's got like little drum pads on it and stuff like that. I bought the whole thing. I was like, it was a hyper focus moment. I was going to do it. I was going to be a musician. I was going to do it. And then obviously once I've come to do it, I've gone, I don't know what I'm bloody doing. And it's that initial kind of panic. And so I've kind of walked away from it, and I've kind of focused more on the vocal side of things because I enjoy doing it, and I've got a bit more courage to do it now. But a lot of then people would say to me things like, oh, why don't you just do AI music? And a lot of drum and bass in particular, they don't like that. They don't like, because there's a lot of upcoming drum and bass AI artists that are posing as drum and bass artists. Are you finding that in the drumming world? What do you think of AI music? Because personally, I think there is a time and place for it, but I don't think it being in mainstream music is okay, because I think it's taken away from the craft of actual musicians, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think AI absolutely has a time and a place, and I think we can't escape it actually as a society. So it's all well and good kind of saying, oh, well, I don't use AI. It's like, good for you. Here's a medal, here's a sticker. But, actually we need to think about music in all its different forms, and the fact that live music is such a craft. And I think there's your laptop can get you so far, but then when it comes to packing out Nottingham Arena and feeling that level of live music, that's where people and the human element has to come in there. I was actually chatting to my other half earlier about this, and I don't know if you felt the same, but like 20 years ago when I first started getting into music, in that kind of 2006 to 2010 kind of era, there was lots of that human element in tracks. So you'd hear like a cough at the start, there'd be like a and then you'd go into something.
There's a few emo songs that do that.
Or you'd have like a random middle section of a song that had like a choir in randomly, or they'd have like I've recorded tracks and stuff where we've like banged a bit of plastic sheet in together and created something and then made it into a verse or a whatever. That. Nowadays, you listen to the kind of release radar on Spotify, and it's like they follow a formula. It's like there's the verse, there's the chorus, there's the verse, there's the chorus, and there's like more of a formulaic approach to music, more and more, and that's deliberate, because I think there's a lot now to do with algorithms, a lot to do with people taking snippets of your music, maybe 30 seconds of it. So you've kind of got to have a really strong hook now.
Yes, you do,
and it's got to be near the start.
It has to
think
be.
about it.
It has to be.
Through your phone, and it's like you need to grab someone's attention for 5 seconds.
I'll give you a prime example, and I love going back to him because he's such a favorite of mine. But Andromedic, he did a tune called Air. I play it pretty much all the time. You probably heard it around Swad at this point. Do you know what I mean? But there's right at the beginning, it's boom, boom, it's like it gets you gripped, and then it's like din 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 din. It's like, because the way, and I literally sat with him and I was like, the way that captivated me, it got me hooked from the start. And that's, you've got it nail on the head, because there's a lot of drum and bass artists at the moment, and they're doing videos and talking about the fact that a lot of the music sounds the same. And especially like, I don't like to say bad things about artists, because everyone's good in their own way. But I say, when an artist sells out, and when I say by selling out, when they've hit, I'd say America, they've hit the high standard, and they've kind of sold out, you find a lot of the stuff sounds very mainstream. And they lose that craft, because the majority of the record labels telling them what to put out there. And I find that bloody sad. I do. Yeah. So I always say to, like, if I ever meet any artist, and I'm ever blessed to, I say, don't sell yourself out, to keep doing what you're doing, because it's working, and I know that we all chase fame, we all chase more, but actually sometimes more is less, really, because you're not in your craft, you're in somebody else's craft. So I go on that release radar every Friday, and it'll always be something tailored to what I want. And sometimes on a Friday, I'll go, for God's sake, it sounds exactly the bloody same. And you don't want to listen to it. And I think that can be quite off-putting, really. But also, if they have a song that they're going to drop, and they make you wait 12 weeks, but they do the snippets on TikTok and they get you excited about it. But then you're like, well, can you just drop it now? Because I'm getting bored. And then when it actually comes out, it can be quite actually underwhelming. Just bloody release the song. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%. And I think social media's got a lot to say for how artists have had to adapt over the years, in terms of like breaking out and making a name for themselves. I think if you don't understand the kind of algorithm and the social media aspect of things, your music can kind of not break or kind of not go viral in that same sense, even though you might have all the talent in the world. It's a real shame, but I think there's a lot of power in just music for music's sake. So there's a lot of like underground communities popping up at the minute for all sorts of things. So like I'm on a really cool group called Drummer Girls United. Yeah,
nice. I like that.
And with like just a global group of women that are drumming, all ages and stages. Some of them are in their garage just starting out. Some of them are like massive artists, and we do like Zoom calls and stuff.
Yeah.
Where and then I'll just see like a name pop up on when you're like on Zoom and stuff, and I'm like, Mercedes Lander from Kitty, are you serious? Like,
oh my God, like
genuinely, and the level of women that can kind of join these spaces is quite incredible. I found that much later in life though, and I never knew those kind of things existed until very recently. But and like local community groups as well. There's like local musicians that support each other and go to each other's shows and stuff like that.
And that's what you need. That's what you need, because I think, and you see it a lot anyway with different artists supporting each other. And I think as well as you probably have this as well, where when you're playing shows, you'll probably see the same faces and you're like kind of got fans, you know what I mean? Like you got people that actually appreciate your craft and what you do. But I actually find it quite refreshing when these big artists, they actually engage with their fans.
Yeah.
I think that's something very special. And, they're no more than we are as people. They're not elite, they're not gods, they're not this, oh, look at me, I'm I say this to people like my for my kids and stuff as well, like Brad Pitt's no better than me. No, do you know what I mean? Because we're all people, we're all just different titles and all this. But I find it that in the music industry in particular, like upcoming artists and ones that aren't like, say, the Beyoncés, the Taylor Swifts, are actually so interested in getting to know the people that they make music for. And I just find that incredible. I've been very lucky, because we were on about it, weren't we, about Medina Lake?
Yes.
Randomly in Blue Banana in the middle of Nottingham, when Blue Banana first opened, and my eldest daughter was a baby. And he literally, the lead singer's I've got a picture somewhere of him holding Lily. And it's like, I'm like, Lily, you know, you've been held by Medina Lake. And she's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, genuinely, they happen. But like meeting these people, like, you know, I met Matt Tucker from Bullet for My Valentine, and I queued for like 8 hours outside HMV. Like Nottingham, when I was in my teenage years, was very much a music scene. Like you had,
it really was the place to be.
There was a band called The Whip. They're not around anymore. They did a song called Trash, and everyone knows that one. It's like, because it's very drum prominent, that one. But I actually met them, and then because oh my god, it's so embarrassing. But it's like, because we lied, me and my friends, we lied and said we were 18. They never ID'd us. We ended up going out for drinks with this band, like, and we're just thinking that then we were like 15, and we didn't know any other. But and then you've got Block Party, a prime example.
Yeah.
I used to be like sort of like acquaintance with Russell from Block Party. We used to message back and forth. I actually followed him on Instagram not too long ago, and I was like, I just want to say my 16-year-old self is so embarrassed by the way I'd constantly email him like, hi Russ, it's Amy, your best fan. Like, I just cringe. I've still got those emails, and I look back and I
love it.
So even like now when I meet artists that I absolutely adore, you have to just refrain from being that 16-year-old fangirl. You have to be like, no, I'm a mature adult now. I need to stop this. So are you like that when you meet people that you admire? Are you a fangirl, or do you kind of like try and keep it cool?
A bit of both, really. I really try and keep it cool, but I had a real laugh when, I think it was, I can't remember which Download festival it was. It's been a while since I've been to Download, but I am going this year, which is exciting.
Nice.
But I think I last went about 12 years ago, potentially. I think it was about 12 years ago. But my other half is jammy, right? He wins every single competition he enters. I'm like, what is this? I could literally enter a bajillion things and I get nothing back. And then he just sends this one text. And I'm like, what do you mean we're meeting Blackstone Cherry? I honestly thought it was a joke at first. I just looked at him and I went, what do you mean? And he's like, he turned his phone around and went, I've just texted the big screen. Because there was like a thing on the main stage. It said, text this number. We're going to select someone to meet Blackstone Cherry backstage. And so me and my now husband and my best friend in the world, Ali, we all went to meet Blackstone Cherry backstage, and it was just, and backstage at Download, you can imagine there was like loads of different artists, loads of different bands, and there was like someone was getting a tattoo in one corner, there was a bar in the other, there was all these different things going on. I think we were all only about 15 at the time.
Yeah, but like back when we were that age, we just thought we were 18. Do you know what I mean? Like we were like totally grown.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so like you quite quickly, I was flicking from kind of like jaw to the floor, absolute fangirling, to like, right, I need to try and act a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I need to get myself together here for a second. But then the band were so funny. Particularly the drummer, actually. He's really tall in real life. I was kind of talking to him like this, like trying to sort of, his all hair as well. He's got this huge perm. And he was just like cracking jokes and telling stories about when they were on tour and like nicking ham sandwiches from each other and just like really normal stuff. And it's just like the amount of musicians that are genuinely just really normal. And a lot of them are actually a little bit neurospicy as well.
Ozzy Osbourne, I reckon he was.
Yeah, definitely. And like, and I think to have that kind of tenacity and creativity within you, I do think your brain has to work a little bit differently, even if it's not kind of a formal sort of, I'm formally diagnosed with X, Y, and Z. Like, I do still think that as a musician, particularly like a touring musician, because that's hard. That is a hard thing to tour. It's quite lonely.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely, because you're doing antisocial hours, staying in random hotels in random towns that you don't know anybody. You're then maybe getting up and doing like a radio appearance during the day. If you've got family and stuff at home, you're not seeing them for months on end. It's a bit like working on a cruise ship, I guess. It's very
That's made me feel really differently about people on tour, actually, because
very lonely thing. Very, very lonely.
That's incredible, really, because you see them on social media and they're like, this is last night's gig. This is,
and it's like,
yeah. And then actually,
and it is, don't get me wrong, it is a laugh, particularly if you love who you're with. Like if you've got really good production crew, you've got really good bandmates. It's like being out with your mates. It's brilliant. I think,
but I suppose it's
as mums, I guess you kind of think differently then. You know, if you kind of think,
I guess so, because I suppose
kids and stuff like
when
that.
the music stops,
yeah,
and you're in that hotel room, and all you're left with is effectively the lack of sleep in your thoughts. I mean, you know, for me, like I've never experienced that, but like I say, when I went to Manchester on my own, you know, like I got in at 3 a.m. I'm tired. I'm 35. I am around a bunch of 20-year-olds that have got more stamina than me. Like I'm an old raver. Do you know what I mean? And like I do it sober, and it's actually quite humbling when you get in bed and you think, wow, I can't believe I've done that. I have a few hours sleep. I drove back home, but I was on such a high but I suppose as an artist, if, you know, I went to see Sota as well. So obviously Sota was the main act. And I suppose Sota goes to bed, gets up a couple of hours later, has to then go to the next place, you know.
And think about the TikTok that they're going to edit, and think about what they're going to say on socials, respond to all the fan messages that they've probably had.
And if they respond to the fans, because a lot of the time now, the big these artists get, I don't get any responses anymore from some of them. And it's so sad because I'm like, but we were talking, like, because I used to be able to message a couple of them and they'd be straight in my, oh, hey, Amy, how you doing? So like, say, when I met Andrew, like, we were laughing about it in the hotel because I was saying to the, and it's so funny, I've got it on my pinboard here. That's the hotel that we stayed in, the Edwardian.
Awesome.
And it was, like I was saying to his name was Cole. Hi, Cole. You were the person that served me. And I said to him, wouldn't it be funny if you just walked around the corner? And he literally did it. And that's why I'm like, some Universal stuff was going on that day, because it was like, what is going on? And he was like, oh, hi. And he knew who I was. And I was like, oh, you actually know who I am? He probably thinks I'm like some psycho, but like genuinely, he said I was very nice person, which I thought was quite,
because you are.
With me. Oh, thank you. That sticks with me. I'm like, thank you. Because, like, you know, there were moments of that interaction, as you know, as a fan, but actually he kind of looked at me more than that, like actually just a normal person. We're just having a conversation, you know, like say bumped into each other in the hotel. We had like a glass of wine and we were talking about music, had like effectively an unofficial interview. And oh God, I wish I'd have said to him, come on my podcast, because like I love him on. I think he should come on. But I've had a few musicians like, oh yeah, I'll come on, and then it's not easy to get hold of them because obviously they've got managers that control their social media. And I think I found that quite hard actually, because like you say, you build a rapport with somebody and then the manager goes, not anymore, you're not. And it's like, oh, okay. So who's on your playlist? Like, who's your soundtrack? Like, who are the artists that you think you could never live without?
Oh, great question. So I think when I was first learning how to drum, it was definitely this trio of Blink-182, Green Day, Nirvana.
Nice.
And then I really went down like a grunge tangent, and I loved things like Pearl Jam, Bush, all those kinds of artists. But then as I've got older, and sort of joined different projects and learned different things, I make a point to try and seek out like really cool sort of boundary pushing bands, and you know, people that are kind of up and coming. So like, for example, with Download this year, I made a little list of some of the bands that I'm going to go and see. And a lot of them are on like the smaller stages. Like there's this really cool lady who's called Rory.
I know her, the ADHD lady.
Yeah, and she did this whole like thing around social media, ADHD. Her other half's just been diagnosed with autism, but like, and she's in her 40s, and like she's made this music, and she's like really like smashing it. And I just thought that's so cool. So I'm definitely going to go and check her out. And there's loads of others, probably too many to list at the moment, but like, I'm constantly kind of trying to find a new thing to listen to and latch on to, because I'm a little bit sort of I don't know. I feel like it freshens up my day to kind of try and find something new to listen to. I recently saw Nova Twins live. They were amazing.
Wow.
And I listened to their music on and off sort of anyway. And then I went to this gig because it was my friend's birthday, and he really vibed with them. So I thought, right, I'm going to go along and see what I think. And I immediately knew that I was going to have a good time because they had these like Marshall stacked amps. The drum kit was on this like pedestal with all these different like sort of sound engineering. There was like glass frontage here. So like the sound could all kind of bounce around. Huge pedal boards out front, and I couldn't see any sort of because I thought, because they've got quite an electronic sound, I thought there'd be little bits of like synthesizer, maybe some backing,
of course,
whatever. No, it's all done through the bass guitars, all done through the guitars. There's three of them on stage, and she was literally, there was one point, the front woman, honestly, she was doing this really like technical guitar riff and then rapping over the top of it, and I was just there like I was at the front just in awe of this whole like production was just incredible. They were supported by a band called Venus Girls, who were incredible as well. All female band. So
you'll have to send me the names of these, because when I come to edit this, when I put it on Spotify, you can actually tag the artist in it to say they've been mentioned. So I'll do that.
Definitely,
give them a bit of a big up, because we have to, don't we?
We have to.
And I think, I don't know if you remember back in sort of like, I call it the under 18s Rock City days, because I used to go to under 18s. Oh my God, that was fun. That was a fun time. But like when you go and see a band, especially Rock City, I can see it now. You go in and, you get your tickets stamped. It was stamped back then. And you go in and there's like that, you hear the hustle and bustle of people.
Yeah.
And then the sort of interlude music comes on. So like things like, they used to put like Venga Boys on and stuff like that before a rock gig, And the last time I went to Rock City was 2021, I think it was. I went to see Sum 41.
Awesome.
And the guitarist waved at me and blew me a kiss, and I about died, honestly, because it was like, oh, sort of thing. But feeling like when you go to those places, there's that instant feeling of nostalgia, because you're going in and you're feeling like your 15-year-old self again, and it's something quite freeing. And that's why I solo travel. I love going to gigs and I love going raving, because I feel like I can be myself, not being mum all the time. And a lot, a lot of people actually, you get talking to people and they go, you're here on your own. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just getting away from the kids for the weekend. They're like, fair play, and I just say to them, I'll go, don't have kids yet, live your life first, being a mom, you never get out of it. But I think that, I think as women, because we've had kids and we have to play that role all the time, we have to have time for us, don't we? And when you do have that time for you, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like a feeling of being 15 again up until that moment. And you're just like, just being you. And so do you find that like drumming and doing the music stuff, is it more an escape, or is it more being actual Amy instead of just mum all the time?
Oh, both. So I always find that I really leaned heavily into drumming whenever things in other aspects of my life were either changing significantly or being in quite a tough place in like other areas of my life, and it was in equal parts sort of escapism, a bit of therapy, but also very much getting back in touch with myself and with another side to me that I don't necessarily reveal to a lot of people, because I think in other aspects of my life I have to be quite serious and I have to be quite sort of well-to-do and all the rest of it.
Put a front on.
And then I think like with drumming and stuff, it's so expressive and so freeing that you tap into a different part of you. It's still me, it's all me, but it's a different me. And drumming, I did actually try and go without drumming for a little bit. So I had a little bit of a drumming hiatus for about 7 years.
Wow.
after I had quite a negative experience at a show, and a number of other things. But it felt like I was missing a limb almost, and I was itching to get back to it. For sure.
Have you been so at gigs? Have you ever been sort of like, as a woman, I mean, this is kind of slightly off topic, but it's kind of around the work I do anyway. Like, do you feel like, as a woman, do you feel taken seriously enough as a musician?
In a word, no. I feel like I have to try extra hard, play extra well, shake more hands, and be sort of even more on my game, just to get the same opportunity as, you know, a young bloke with not as many commitments or things going on as me. Because I think there's a little bit of a stigma now, particularly now, actually, that you'll notice a lot of female musicians won't talk about their children. And there's a reason for that. Motherhood doesn't sell. Sexiness sells, and femininity sells, and empowerment sells. And you know, like I couldn't tell you which. There's very few. I know there's some artists now that are feeling confident enough to lean into that and say, yes, I am a mother as well. But I think even now you'll see a lot of female musicians will be a character rather than be them.
Sabrina Carpenter's come to mind then when you said that, because I don't believe that's the real her. I find that a lot of, it's like Katy Perry, prime example. She's got kids, and I could just imagine her, you know, hair up like this, in a trackies, making a baby a bottle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. And then obviously on the stage, she's got, you know, those big cannons coming out of her bra and all of that. But you're right, you know, sex sells, and it does. And isn't it a shame that we're in that sort of reality? But it's the same with, I mean, it's the same with drum and bass. Like, I find that a lot of women DJs, I've personally seen them in the flesh. They come out, they've got, and it's nothing, oh my God, nothing against them at all, bless them. But they're coming out in bras and high-waisted shorts. Because I think if they came out in tracky bottoms and a tracksuit top, I don't think they'd be taken seriously. And I find that so sad, because we as women, we shouldn't have to get everything out just to become something. There's a lady I started watching years ago on YouTube that does ASMR. She does all the kind of that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I've noticed more and more and more the boobs have started coming out more and more and more. Then she said that she does this spicy other page, and I went, sorry, I'm going to have to unsubscribe to you, because I'm very sensitive to that kind of stuff anyway. But I just find it such a shame that women, and it's, you know, again, it's not a feminist comment, it's not this, it's not that, it's just fact, isn't it, that, you know, if you're a woman drummer, I tell you, there was a band I used to listen to in my teens called the Donnas, and I flipping loved them. Like Donna A, Donna B, Donna C, I loved them. And they were always referred to as a pop band, and they weren't. They were rock and roll. They were bloody brilliant. I still have them on my playlist. I love them. And they were treated sort of like a pop band. And it's like, well, actually, just because they're a bunch of girls, they're not the Spice Girls. Do you know what I mean? So I just find it really sad.
And it's not, and don't get me wrong, it's not everywhere. Like I've you know, I found plenty of spaces and plenty of projects, plenty of genres where that doesn't come into it, not a jot. But I do think if I'm ever kind of entering a new space or networking with a new group of musicians, you know, there's always that hesitancy. I mean, I got let go from a band when I found out that I was pregnant with my son. And they cited the reason as being the pregnancy.
I remember that, actually, because that was quite public, wasn't it? I remember that. And I did actually sit there and think, I felt like that wasn't your choice. Yeah. And you felt backed into a corner.
100%. And even sort of before that, even pre-children, there was a moment where university was getting quite intense. I was getting onto my sort of final year, final dissertation getting handed in. And there was the band that I was in was booking gig after gig after gig. And I had to kind of lay a boundary down and go, guys, look, I've got a dissertation that needs to be handed in. Can you give me 6 weeks to just get that in and get that done? You know, I paid a lot of money to be here. I can't do uni again. I can gig again. I can gig a million bajillion times for a whole eternity. Can't do this again. I need to set some priorities and I need to set some boundaries. I got let go very publicly again. And I was replaced with an 18-year-old boy with a drug addiction.
Nice.
And funnily enough, that band didn't last very long after that. So yeah. But it's that kind of, they just seem to assume that, you know, a young lad is probably going to be easier in some ways, or less, you know, I don't know, less complicated, whatever you want to spin it. But you know, before long, I think you do find your tribe. And I had a real kind of epiphany, particularly when it was after I kind of had my hiatus, and then I learned to drive. I got you know, other aspects of my life were a little bit more stable, and kind of put myself out there again and sort of said, hey, does anyone want a drummer, kind of thing. And it was Lucy's dad, of all people, that texted me and said, so Lucy's another mum friend of ours.
Oh,
in Tots Crew. And yeah, he was like, yeah, you're a massive talent. I'd love to have you in my band. And yeah, we're gonna just like, and it was over COVID that happened. So that was kind of when things really started sort of kicking back in again.
Did you do like the Zoom call band sessions?
Yeah, and then
like that? Yeah,
and then we did. So we knew a bloke who owned a load of barns and a load of land, and we did some open air practices as well.
That's awesome. So, but the sound is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't breaking any sort of rules or anything, because we were able to keep enough distance and all the rest of it, so it was absolutely fine.
I mean, you must have had you must have, like, especially during COVID, I think a lot of people must have had a really good, decent internet connection, because Enter Shikari did it, where they did the online. I loved it, like, because I was pregnant with my Edie at the time, so it was like I couldn't do anything, middle of COVID, bored, and I'd just sit and I'd just watch my favorite musicians playing live on a live, and I'm thinking, you feel like you're almost there, but it was just, what a time to have been alive, though.
Yeah, definitely it was
never
surreal.
Again, thank you. Thank you.
No, definitely not. And yeah, I've always kind of, from that point on, I've always kind of dabbled with sort of paid work through cover bands, but then also original material alongside.
Nice.
So I always try and do a little bit of both, because unfortunately nowadays, I think, you know, the kind of the covers and the sort of being able to play at like pubs, parties, events, corporate events, stuff like that, that's kind of where the sort of consistent drumming and consistent income is going to be, because you can kind of go out at pretty much every week and do that. But then I think the real sort of creative outlet is definitely through the originals.
Yeah, definitely.
I've always kind of been in 3-piece bands for some reason. But then, you know, I cite one of my, you know, two of my main influences, Blink-182 and Green Day, are both 3-pieces, aren't they? It's kind of, that's kind of how it's always been
as well, I suppose. It's like you're not dealing with more people, and
this is very true.
Yeah,
you do have to work extra hard though to pad out the sound.
That's true. Yeah,
it's probably why I fell into singing as well, because it's kind of like, we need an extra layer, like it sounds too quiet.
I remember going to band practice when I was 14, and I had a bass, and I've still got on my MySpace, like my MySpace still exists, and it's a picture of me and my 4 friends, and we're like proper, like, we're sat on, like, oh my god, it's like so Nottingham as well, we're sat in the middle of Nottingham on some steps, and we're like doing this, like, like proper serious band pose, and then we did one band practice. We were completely uncoordinated, and we just went, should we just go shop? Yeah, we'll just go shop. And then we just end up going to McDonald's and be like, we're never doing that again. And I think, I think music's a good talking point, isn't it? Yeah, it just wasn't for us. But I think, so if you were to have, this is like the question I ask everyone. Everyone goes, I don't know. If you were to have the soundtrack of your life and it's 3 songs, what would they be?
Oh,
I'm so sorry, but I have to ask everyone.
I'll go with so probably I Will Survive. I will survive.
Absolutely.
As long as I know hello. Because, you know, been through loads of different things. And I think, you know, actually underneath all of it, I think you've got to just get your disco lights out and go, do you know what? I've survived worse. I've
It is a
survived worse
tune.
and I will do it. And I love it. I think it's an absolute tune. I'll go with What's My Age Again? Blink 182.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, age is just a number and we've got to have fun and we've got to who cares if it's something that you loved when you were 15? If you still love it now, lean into it.
Do you not find though in our 30s we relate to that probably more than ever now?
100%.
Because I never got it. I just thought it was just about an immature man. But actually, when you really listen to it, it's not. It's just about not giving a crap and just living your life. Like I say, going to raves, going to gigs. Who cares? If we're in our 30s, we're still living our life. We've just got young spirits. What can we say? No.
Absolutely. And then, I've got to think of a third one.
It's tough.
Dun, dun, dun. I think I'll go for I'm going to go with probably a song that you've never ever heard of. So it's by a band called Yonica. They're a punk band. I think they're from Bristol.
Nice.
And it's called By the Time You're Reading This. And it's all about, it's a song where she wrote it to basically be like a love note in a kind of, as soon as you've found this, I'm already gone. Like,
oh, wow.
So the kind of the chorus is like, by the time that you're reading this, I'll be gone. But I love that because I think more and more I'm realizing that I need to be in places and in spaces that appreciate me. And I think there's real power in kind of walking away from things that don't serve you anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think particularly with music and stuff, even though I've been in a few different projects and there's been a few things that haven't quite worked out, like I've then walked into something that's even better. And, you know, the band that I'm in now, the DeLoreans, they are such a lovely, lovely group of people. And they see me for me and we you know, take the mick out of each other. We have a laugh, and you know, there's no filter, there's no kind of I can't say that, and like it's just everything's very very real and very down to earth, and that's exactly what it needs to be. So yeah, that'll be my three.
Oh no, I like that, and I like that you're very much like me, like totally different genres, really.
Yes.
You know, and I think, yeah, it's almost like especially like I Will Survive. Like I think that's such a powerful. I mean, for its time as well, it was extremely powerful because women were becoming more and more able to do these things and speak up, and I think when you live in a world where, you know, speaking up gets you in trouble, as I know very, very well, very personally, I know. I think sometimes some of us are just born to just make a stand, not give a crap, and just say how we feel. And if it gets us in trouble, it is what it is, because some of us just don't want to be quiet. And I think that's why we get on so well, because you're like me, you say it how it is. And I think, but you're like also on that frequency that you wear so many hats. You know, you've got mum hat, musician hat, playgroup hat, you know, your committee hat, you know, you've got a lot on, but you just get on with it. And I think that's I like strong people, and that's why I thought of you. I need you on this podcast because you do so much, and you need some recognition. So bravo.
Oh, thank you. You're amazing.
I took my headphone out of my ear, but yeah. Thank you, honestly, thank you so much for coming on and like sharing your journey. And
it's not a problem. Happy to help you. And yeah, this podcast is amazing. And yeah, I look forward to hearing who else you get on.
Oh, bless you. So the DeLoreans, are they on sort of social media? They're like YouTube, like what are the DeLoreans doing? So send me all the details. I'm going to chuck it all in the comments anyway, in the description, and then people can go and listen.
Amazing. Thank you.
I've been told they'll have to listen. So, thank you so much, my lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.